Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope that you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. As always, leaving a like, leaving a comment, or subscribing. It helps out the channel immensely. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. According to new research, fewer cyber criminals are using Bitcoin as their primary method of moving illicit funds, with bad actors opting to go back to fiat or choosing other cryptocurrencies. If you were not here in 2017 and 18, one of the largest news stories, and I find it also a little, it's not ironic, but I find it very funny that a lot of people who were introduced to cryptocurrencies from mainstream news articles or shows or whatever, talking about how crypto was just for criminals and was being used by terrible, awful people. There were multiple movies that were made in 2018, 2019, low budget. I mean, you know, the budget was like a banana and $5, where Bitcoin was like the focus of the movie. But for some reason, everyone involved was like a criminal. Wasn't there a movie in 2020 that was called Crypto, and it was literally about like people robbing a bank? It's always the same. It's always this kind of narrative around the space. One of the original reasons why government stated that they did not like Bitcoin was that it was a way for people to be able to transact and do illicit things behind the scenes, and the government had no idea about it. And people realized, even people in the crypto space realized very quick that you could link a crypto transaction to a person with nearly zero effort. This is why I always tell you, and have told you before, when you hear that Visa and what's the other one? And PayPal are trying to get you to link your Visa and PayPal to your MetaMask, it's so that they have information about all of your transactions. It has nothing to do with easing and making life better for you. It's always just about money and control. This around 2017, 2018, we had the introduction of the very popular coins that have private transactions. Ooh, back then it was Dash, Monero, and Zcash, and then a lot of other copycats that came out after them. These began to be the coins that were actually used by the criminals. Why? It's because they have private transactions, and logically you would assume that they want something that has a completely private transaction, as opposed to Bitcoin, which has a complete string of every transaction that's ever been attached to it. However, over the years, we've heard less and less about governments and countries and banks hating Bitcoin and how evil it is and how it's only used by criminals, because I'm sure they realized many years ago that it was not. And even if it was at any given time, people switched over very quick because they realized that you can look at every single transaction on a Bitcoin transaction. Digital asset compliance and risk management firm TRM Labs revealed that illicit finance volumes involving Bitcoin had fallen significantly over the past 7 years. That's 23, that's roughly around 2016. What? According to its illicit crypto ecosystem report, TRM Labs said instead a new multi-chain era has led to a qualitative leap away from Bitcoin as a primary means of moving criminal proceeds. I can't believe it. That's crazy. You mean the other coins that have private transactions and you use more than Bitcoin? Wow. The firm also highlighted that cash and other forms of fiat-related finance remain the default means of criminal What? People choose to use the US dollar and paper still? Well, that doesn't make any sense. No one ever has used those things before for criminal activities. I'm completely shocked. They said indeed, cash and even older forms of finance such as Hawala, transferring money without physically moving it, I don't know what that is, remain the default means by which illicit activity is financed and its proceeds are laundered. I always used to love the news stories that people were laundering or using crypto illicitly. how Bitcoin, remember Warren Buffett when everyone was paying attention to him, how Bitcoin was only for criminals and he said ladies of the night and was rat poison squared because once again, he does not understand technology for those of you who don't know that. Like, that's not a joke. Like he said it before. He doesn't invest in many different tech companies because he doesn't understand them. So over the last couple of years, Warren Buffett and his crew have started investing in more tech companies because they probably hired someone younger who was like, you don't own any Apple stock? What? Anyway, so the news is like almost like a chapter closing that we finally got to this point where after hundreds of banks around the world and also BlackRock and Fidelity announced that they were getting into crypto. Now, it's no longer the illicit thing of choice. It's the same exact thing where a couple of years ago, which you also don't hear about anymore. One of the main topics of discussion was how dirty Bitcoin was and how dirty Ethereum was. The idea being is that blockchain uses so much energy and so much technology and so much blah, 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 that it's ruining the planet more than I think there's estimated that there's roughly around 15 billion cars on the planet, but little old blockchain, that's the real problem. But now, for those of you who missed it, I think it's more than 53% of Bitcoin's electrical usage actually comes from renewable sources. And this is expected to reach the 60 percentile relatively soon. The idea is, of course, to have 100%, but it's probably going to peak around the 70 or 80% for the next couple of decades. So you no longer hear about how terrible and gross Bitcoin is because we got past that. It's like, do you remember? I remember growing up when we heard that there was a hole in the ozone layer. If you maybe we're not in the same parts of the internet. Someone recently was online and they were like, "Isn't it weird how we don't hear about that anymore? Like it's such a cover up." And it's like, no, like we closed it. That's why you don't hear about the hole in the ozone layer, because we did what we had to do to close it. So anyway, with Ethereum moving over or having moved over to proof of stake, this is why you also don't hear in the news that Ethereum's terrible. See, pay attention to the news that's going on. It's always hyper connected. 99% of the activity in the cryptocurrency space comes from wealthy people trying to discourage normal people from getting into the space and or trying to scare them. Because the news was years ago that no one should be touching Bitcoin because it's dirty, it's terrible, and it's evil. Weird how you don't hear that anymore, right? When all the actual terrible and evil people get into the space. That's the fewer cyber criminals are using Bitcoin and they're using cash. That's weird. I would not have expected that one. News. And yeah, let's move on. People keep missing this news, and I'm not really sure exactly why anymore. Polygon has announced a partnership with the largest music company in the United States of America, Warner Music Group, WMG, the largest music company in the US, located in NYC, is launching a music accelerator program in collaboration with Polygon Labs aimed at the participation of future generation blockchain music projects and decentralized applications on the Polygon network. Once again, Warner has partnered with Polygon and still no one pays attention. This is like company number 900. Pay attention to why they're all using Ethereum and why they're all using Polygon. For those of you who don't know, one of the more fascinating applications of blockchain technology that we figured out over the course of the last couple of years has to do with NFTs. And I told you all years ago, you will eventually at some point own an NFT the same way that you now own digital currency. And in 2005, me telling you that you would own digital money that exists on the internet that has value, you would have thought I was insane. The idea of digital music and or blockchain music or crypto music, NFT music, has to do with the idea of ownership. So if you create art, music, anything you kind of want to put into that bucket, the idea for an NFT for art comes down to there are a lot of artists who may be, in the game for 50, 60 years, but when their pieces are now selling at Sotheby's and these other places, they get no runoff from their work selling for $114 million. They sit there and go, wow, that's great. I'm still broke. Wish I had some of that change. If you have an NFT, if they create their work in an NFT form, it has a digital signature, and they say for everything that gets resold, I get 5 or 10%. 10 is usually the norm, but I feel like 10 is quite high as an actual number. Anytime that it's resold, they get a chunk of that money. It is believed that it's happening now. But if Warner's getting into it, this is going to be their gigantic push. Is that if there's an artist who releases a song, not many people are buying CDs or Walkmans anymore or anything like that. People listen to and stream all of these things, where if you buy the song digitally online, the artist will immediately get the exact portion of money that they should be receiving from the actual work selling. There are tons of companies that already exist like this, who are selling, like, I won't tell you the artist names because you'll get hyped. The songs of these artists in NFT form, someone has sold the rights of their their royalties, and you get the royalties when you own these actual songs. I own a couple of them as well, and yeah, they're actually quite nice. So this will be something in the future. A lot of other companies have done this in the last 2 years. In that, let's say think of your favorite artist, your favorite singer, your favorite whatever, somebody who holds a guitar, you like their music. If they released a song and they said this release will only be for 24 hours on this website, on Binance, and you have a chance to spend $25 to buy that song, and you forever had a piece of, you owned that song, a fraction of it. So whenever this song was streamed, played at a concert or anything like that, you would receive a portion of the money that they also got forever, as long as that song continued to be played. This is the world that we're currently moving into. It's the digitization of everything, but also the kind of the economy of everything, where everything that has value, you can also benefit from because it's also on a blockchain as well. And I know there were at least 5 people at the beginning of this paragraph who were quite skeptical, but now you also want to own a digital song because of the lifelong royalties that you will receive from owning that song. Therefore, you would then be owning an NFT. NFTs will also go to property ownership. With fractionalized ownership, you and 9 of your friends will digitally have the certificate in NFT form that the 10 of you own this property. You're renting it out on Airbnb. You're renting it out monthly. The person who is paying, you would equally get the rent every month on the blockchain. See, I told you all before, you will all at some point own an NFT the same exact way that you all own crypto. Here's the tweet for it right here. According to the press release, ideal applicants for the program are companies and entrepreneurs operating at the intersection of music, technology, and Web3. Very popular. I saw this news a lot of places, but a lot of people were not talking about this. I think this news should have been more popular because this only solidifies within my portfolio that Polygon, for me, is the coin that I should continue to accumulate. There are a lot of other projects that have claimed since around 2017 that they would have partnerships and or people using them, and there are none. So, Polygon and Ethereum continue to lead at the front of everything when it comes to what they can do. We're also getting, it's not in this video, no. We're also getting rumors and hints that apparently Polygon 2.0 is going to be launching sometime in the relative future. I assume that it will also double or triple their transaction capacity. So yeah, that's the Polygon and Warner Music are partnering to revolutionize music. Yeah, I told you we're in the future. All right. Let's move on. Also in the news, in anticipation of something called Base, that is Coinbase without the coin, Coinbase confirmed on Wednesday that its Ethereum Layer 2 network has been selected or subjected to extensive security evaluations conducted by researchers. Reports indicate that Coinbase commissioned a 6-month internal audit from its protocol safety team to thoroughly test the security of Base, built on the OP stack in collaboration with Optimism that was announced in February. For those of you who were not here, a lot of companies have begun to announce that they are going to... Whoa, backing it up. Nearly every company who gets into the cryptocurrency space ends up announcing that they're going to be building on top of Ethereum. Period. The other part is a lot of companies already within the crypto space, Coinbase included, announced that they were going to be launching some kind of an extra chain on top of Ethereum to take off some of the word's not bloat, but to allow Ethereum to kind of breathe a little bit. Ethereum looks like, I know people will disagree, but it looks like it's becoming a little bit like Bitcoin in that Bitcoin's main chain will have very slow upgrades. It will not ever have a 9 million transaction per second upgrade, but it will have other things that, improve it, but it has other layers and chains around it, which then allow Bitcoin to go to these crazy transactional heights. Coinbase's base chain is basically them also trying to keep up with Binance, because Binance has the Binance Smart Chain. But they claim that Base is going to be used as an extension of Ethereum to make sure that other transactions can run on top of Base as opposed to just having to run on top of Ethereum. This is the generalized idea to take away a portion of the transactions that they run on Base so that Ethereum can run smoother and actually quicker. Here's a tweet for it right here. It says, P.S. in case you're keeping track, no one is. With the completion of these audits, we're now 4/5 of our criteria for mainnet launch. And there's like a gigantic blue key. I assume that's supposed to be Coinbase opening. I don't know what that is. Coinbase stated, the team audited all of Optimism's pre-deployments and smart contracts on both Layer 1 and Layer 2 to identify potential vulnerabilities of security risks. The purpose of Layer 2 solutions is to enhance the cost effectiveness and efficiency of transactions on networks such as Ethereum. These solutions achieve this by processing transactions in a separate space and subsequently relaying the outcome back to their respective network. Think of it like, imagine you're trying to go to the supermarket and instead of making 75 trips for all the things that you're trying to do, you hire 5 different people and they go out buying stuff for you. They come back with all the bags and then you get the transactions all in one time, as opposed to you literally buying a can of soup, running back to the supermarket, buying toilet paper, coming back home, putting down the toilet paper, going back out, buying another can of, I don't know what people are eating, but you kind of get the general idea. It's basically the finality of the transactions happens on the main chain, so on Ethereum, but the other Layer 2 solutions relay the fact that there are other transactions happening. They put it into one gigantic box. So if Ethereum can maximum do 15 transactions per second, you can have something like Base or like Polygon do 35,000 random number, 35,000 transactions, put that all into one box and it counts as one transaction on Ethereum. That's the general idea of it. So cool. At some point, we will definitely be getting news about this. I do not foresee a future where Coinbase launches their own chain on top of Ethereum that can do beaucoup de transactions and they don't let us know in some kind of really weird Coinbase-y kind of public notice of sorts. So cool. Get it done. I'm glad that we have not heard about this like every month over the course of the last like 5 or 6 months. It would have been very draining. Hope they get it done quick. I would assume that Base and then Polygon would be the places to then build and do stuff within the Ethereum ecosystem as we wait for that illustrious 1 million transactions per second on the Ethereum main chain. But yeah, that's the Coinbase is building their own chain news. All right. Let's move on. Also you know what? Sure, why not? In response to reports suggesting, this is also an issue here, I'll tell you why. Reports suggesting that the recent wave of spot Bitcoin ETFs filed in recent weeks did not meet the US SEC standards. For those of you who don't remember that, earlier this week, maybe even like Sunday or something like that, there was an issue where people were spreading rumors that the US SEC had rejected BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF proposal. They didn't reject it. The US SEC stated that they didn't find BlackRock and Fidelity's listing sufficient because basically BlackRock and Fidelity wrote that they would be partnering with crypto exchanges for custody and or help in moving around funds. But the SEC wanted an actual name, so they had to go back and literally write in the name of the crypto exchanges they would be using. And one of the main crypto exchanges is Coinbase. Right, so we're all on the same page now. The Chicago Board Options Exchange, or the CBOE, has resubmitted 4 19B-4 filings for ETFs. Notably, CBOE's amended filings now include Coinbase as a partner in the surveillance sharing agreement for the spot Bitcoin ETFs, following a report by the Wall Street Journal disclosing the dissatisfaction of SEC insiders with a recent batch of spot Bitcoin ETF applications by BlackRock, WisdomTree, Valkyrie, Fidelity, ARK Investment, and Invesco. 4 firms resubmitted their filings on Friday, basically with extra information. The SEC apparently wants no ambiguity at all. Like some companies apparently were writing like they plan on using blockchain technology, and the SEC was like, which blockchains? Which exact ones? We need proper names for all these things that are happening. In an article by the Wall Street contributor Vicky Huang, insiders described as people familiar with the matter revealed on Friday that the regulatory body deemed the ETF registrations inadequate, etc., yada, 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 cool. According to the report, a spokesperson from CBOE confirmed the exchange's intention to resubmit its spot Bitcoin ETF filings. True to their word, the CBOE proceeded to update and make necessary amendments to the filings, which were initially submitted by Fidelity, VanEck, Invesco, and by WisdomTree. So everyone is trying to file a Bitcoin ETF. If you saw the news, it was, 2 days ago? Something like that. The people from Cathie Wood have also refiled for a Bitcoin ETF. No. The people from ARK Invest apparently are next in line for a Bitcoin ETF approval or disapproval by the SEC. And the news is that Cathie Wood's people believe that they will get the Bitcoin ETF before BlackRock. I would not be upset if it happens, but the likelihood is very slim. Very incredibly, like, what are you guys talking about, slim? If we end up in a world by the end of this year where the US has 6 or 7 different physical Bitcoin ETFs, we will have a $100,000 Bitcoin by the next halving. There's no way around it. Because if these companies get it, you better believe 25 other companies in the US are going to do the exact same thing. And they're buying actual business, like Bitcoin. Like these aren't just simply funds that have the name Bitcoin on it. They'd be accumulating massive amounts. So any news that we've gotten about MicroStrategy buying or having 140,000 Bitcoin, that would be nothing. That'd be a drop in the bucket. So I hope that good things come our way. I try to not hold my breath because I've been in this space for so long and I know what disappointment feels like, because the SEC is special. So let's see what actually ends up happening. For those of you who were not here, once again, it is, I think, the 13th of August is the day for ARK Invest to get the yay or the nay. It will definitely be in the news, and a lot of people will be paying attention to what's going on. Yeah, that's the CBOE. Is filing for a Bitcoin ETF as well, because, you know, why not at this point? Yeah? Let's move on. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Jimmy Jim, American Crypto Academy, Bodie McBoatface, Sam Ratter, Dotha Diddy, Manny Cryptos, Crypto Gambino, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Jamie Saad, and let's move on. Empire Queen, Roman Gaba, Bitcoin Ben Arachno, Dave the Dealer Zen, Captain Something, Z-Way Lay, Mobarazi, VB Nerd 21, Lauren De Silva, Quoted Biddy, Troy Allgood, Space Case, Need a Miracle, Paternoster, Navarro Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman, High XRP, Storoma, Josh Arson, The Animal Rita, Bilbiophobia, Adam Graysick, Wise 9 Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Cold D3D, Setsuna, Paxis, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Yes to Crypto, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger Macho Nisa, and on Crypto with Lionel. Thank you all very, very much for being patrons. These lines are ridiculous. These are all transactions. These are all transactions that are trying to get through, and they're not anytime soon. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.